What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Well, there's my supplies. So I've had a lot of people ask me, what do I do, or what does it take to take this thing off-road, and like what's the aftermath? So today I'm going to show you guys basically what I go through every single time I take it off-road to get it all cleaned up and any damage that we have, because we do have a couple of dents, scrapes, scratches, and we actually have a new piece that actually broke this time. So we have a broken trim piece. So we'll go over everything and I'll show you guys what it takes. And it's not much, but this is basically what I do every single time I take it off-road. So the first thing we're gonna do is start with a 2-bucket wash. Now, we do have both buckets here. There's 1 and 2. And I'll show you guys all the supplies and everything we're using in a moment. But as you can see, I live in an apartment. So we don't have the option of washing it here. So I do have to go somewhere else to wash it. And using the brushes and stuff at the coin-op washes, I don't trust, which is why I go this route. To be honest, it actually saves you a bit of money because I only really have to pay to soak the Jeep, fill the bucket, and then rinse it off after. So I'll show you guys the process. It's not too bad, and the Jeep isn't terrible. Like, yeah, it's a little bit muddy here and there. The running boards are a little bit thick, but it's mostly sand and like a light, like it's a really light mud. It's not like clay. So we won't be washing it too bad. It's not going to be crazy. And yeah, and we do have a couple of dents and scrapes, which I'll show you guys after we wash it. And we do have a broken piece of trim on the front bumper here. So this, we drove the bumper. You can see there's a couple of scrapes and I think there's a dent somewhere, but we drove the front bumper into a rock when we were doing a climb.
Oh God.
And yeah, that didn't go as planned, but it is what it is. And this got a little bit destroyed. So you can see it's cracked all the way through here. But this piece, funny enough, I actually ordered for $28 directly from Mopar. So yeah, it's just a little trim piece that goes around here and it comes around like this. You do need to do 2 plastic rivets, which are the same rivets that you use for all of your fenders. And I'll show you guys how to remove those and how to install those in a minute, and I'll even give you guys the specs on the size. But yeah, those are if you want to remove your fenders or separate your fender from the fender liner, then you need to remove those. And if you ever have to replace your fenders, then you'll know that you need to replace those as well. So we'll go over that, but first things first, let's get this thing cleaned up, and then we can go over everything and show you guys properly what the damage is. So first things first, we're gonna have to wet down the car. Then we're gonna have to fill the buckets. Or actually, first I fill the buckets so that I know that they're full, and then I wet down the car, and then I pretty much start going for it. Today, since there's a little bit more mud on it, we're gonna have to take the mud off. This we're gonna use for waxing when we're done. I have a couple more of these. These are brand new so that they don't scratch anything. They're not used. I have wash mitt, double-sided. We've got a brush for the bumpers, the sides, I was gonna say side steps, but they're the rock rail steps, and the rims. So that's gonna be for that. Big drying cloth. We've got a quick shine. So this one is actually infused with a ceramic. So this one is gonna beat off the water really well and beat off the dirt. I haven't tried this one before. The one that I've been using, I'll show you guys in just a second. So the one I've been using is this. It's the Chemical Guys Lucent Spray Shine Synthetic Spray Wax. This stuff is actually great. It works really well. So I actually recommend this. Not sponsored by Chemical Guys, but all my stuff that I use on the vehicle is mostly Chemical Guys. You can see I have the buckets, the brush, everything. But that's just because they make good products and they work well and they're not too expensive. And the auto wash is half of this, and the other half I mix, so I mix it directly 50-50 with a ceramic wash. So it is adding ceramic to the vehicle every single time we wash it. So you can see it's a little bit more watery than usual. This stuff is actually pretty thick, and I just mix it half and half, 1 ounce each, and then whenever I wash, I use 2 ounces. So I have it all measured out here, you can see, and we're gonna use basically 2 ounces. We have 2 washes left. So I'm gonna start filling all my buckets. I'm gonna spray down the vehicle and we'll get going. I also have this guy to dry it off after to get most of the water off so that we don't have to really play around too much with the cloth. And yeah. So we left the buckets inside the bed, which we will also clean at the end, and I'll show you guys how we're gonna do that. We will be using that brush for that, but that's the only thing I trust that with. So we have our rinse bucket and our wash bucket, both of them with a dirt catcher. So no dirt gets back into the water once it settles, and it keeps you from rubbing any kind of contaminants or anything that's gonna damage your paint into the paint. So first thing we're gonna do, we got all the chunky stuff off, but you can see it still dries like with a light dirt, because no matter how much you pressure wash it, it's never gonna all come off perfectly, at least not in my experience. So all the chunky stuff is gone. Now we need to go in there, hit it with the actual soap and sponge, or whatever you want to call that thing, and get this thing nice and clean. So let's go, let's finish this thing off quick, then we'll rinse it and do the bed at the same time, and that'll be that. Well, we got it washed and dried, so now she is pretty much clean and good to go. Most people would be happy and would stop here. However, the reason that I go one step further and I do the synthetic wax, or in this case today, we're going to be doing the ceramic wax, is because it helps keep the dirt off, it helps beat up the water. I park in an underground garage where it gets super dusty, so you wash this thing and the next day it just looks like shit unless you do this. And when I do actually do the wax, it lasts a lot longer. It lasts for like a week or two before it starts to look dirty if I don't go off-roading. So it protects the paint and it lasts a little bit longer, so our efforts don't go to waste. So yeah, some guys just ripping around in the Challenger there, but let's wax it up and I'll show you guys the difference. And there we go. She's all waxed and ready to go for another trail or another adventure. But you can see, like, the thing's a damn mirror now, and I don't do it just so it looks good. Like I said, I do it for the protection of the paint, and I'll show you guys as best as I can that this thing isn't ceramic coated, but the soap is ceramic and the wax is ceramic. So you can see it literally just beads right off. So that's what you want. You don't have any dirt or anything sticking to it after, and it just makes your life that much easier when you do go to clean it up later. So you can see that water basically is just sitting on the surface instead of on the paint. I don't know how to explain it. It's yeah, the vehicle has that little bit of barrier to protect it, so that's what we need. The bed is nice and clean. She is gonna dry out, but for now, I'm just gonna leave it open like this and it'll be all good. Oh, hello Lambo. One day, guys, one day we'll be washing that on the channel, but for now, we're washing this guy. And I'm not complaining, but let's go and let's show you guys some of the damage. So one of the first things that you will see is this. And we did get a little bit of scrapage, nothing too crazy. And this guy is split and broken right through, so we will be removing this and replacing this, but I'm just waiting for it to arrive. So I don't have it yet, but it is just like a little cap from here right around to here, and it's just a separate little piece. You can see it. So that will be removed and that will be replaced. I don't think, yeah, there might be a little ding here, but once we paint it, you're not going to be able to tell. And that will be my next step, is to go underneath this thing, and we're going to sand and paint all the parts that got touched by any rocks or anything else. So if we look underneath here, I'm sure we'll be able to find something on one of the pans somewhere that needs to be touched up. But as you can see, it's still wet. So since it's still wet and still dripping, I'm gonna leave it for now, and we're gonna focus on the interior for today, because right now it's still a little bit dirty. Now the mats aren't too bad. I could pull the plug and just rinse them off, but I'd rather just take them out, rinse them off in the bathtub, let them dry, and put them back in. Now we will come back in here, clean all of this. It's not really too bad inside, but we're still gonna come in here, clean everything, vacuum everything, and do all of that. Get all this mud and whatever else is in here. Oh, now it's not too bad because we did have seat covers, or like a temporary seat cover. And if you haven't seen those, basically it's like a towel. It's nothing too special, but it does have a cutout that goes over the seat here. So it drapes down a little bit here, and then it does the front. So it's nice when you're covered in mud, or you're wet, or you're dirty, or whatever, and you're on the trails and you don't want to get all that dirt in your seats. And I don't have leather seats because I didn't want the leather seats. This Jeep I actually factory ordered. So I picked out every single option with my dealer, and then they ordered it for me, and then they built it at the plant. So personally, I love the seats. I didn't want leather seats, I wanted the cloth seats, and I'm happy with my choice. So that one little seat protector thing is not a big deal. Use that once in a while when we go off-roading, and that's about it. But next thing is, let's get this guy home and let's clean it up inside, and then when we're done with the inside, I'll show you guys how to address everything else, and hopefully that cap will be here by then, and we'll take care of that as well. Well, got them clean. Well, got the whole Jeep clean, got the mats cleaned. Now we got to throw them back in, and we can go and take care of painting. And when I say painting, we're not going to be going hardcore and priming and painting and stripping. We're going to do it quick and dirty, but it's going to be good enough. And I'll show you guys. This is the last one that we did. So this is when we slid right into the rock there and kind of bent this in a little bit.
Hold on. Yeah, roll. Slowly. Yeah. Yep.
Oi!
But that's okay, because this is a slider, so it's not a big deal. And underneath, the mounting points are still all good. It just, I guess, got shifted a little bit from here somehow. But either way, we painted it right here. And you can see, it doesn't match perfectly, but from 5 to 10 feet, you can't see shit. So that's pretty much what we're aiming for. And we're not painting anything that's gonna be really visible. The most visible piece that I've painted so far is this one, and you can see like it doesn't look that bad. Like, yeah, it's painted, but once I go off-road once or twice, it'll mat over and it'll look fine. So I do use satin paint. I don't have matte. I should get a can of matte black, but I use satin, and satin is basically between gloss and matte. It's like, this is satin. This is exactly what it is. This is what I painted my door handles in, and you can see they do have sort of a reflective, like not a, it's not gloss, but it's not matte. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's half reflective, if that makes sense. So I painted all the door handles in that, the rear handle, as well as this one. So you can see it's kind of reflective, not really. So that gives you an idea of basically what that is. But we're not aiming for a perfect factory finish. It's a rock slider, so it's not a big deal. Or in this case, it's going to be the bumper. I'm not sure if any of the aftermarket mats do this, but these are the Jeep all-weather mats from Mopar, and they actually fit in to your drain hole. So if you see, there's your drain. They have a little bit of a gasket there, right around the actual like drain part, and it, like, I don't know if you can hear it, but clips right in. And then once it's clipped in, you just put in your little drain plug and it's sealed. And I've been running them like that for the past 2 years. Mud holes, water holes, whatever you name it, never had an issue. And it's nice and easy if you do choose to rinse this out. Say something happens, it gets dirty or you spill something, just pop that out. It's good to go. I don't have those in the back, but you do have them in the front. The rear does not have any kind of drains, but I guess there might be a drain somewhere under the carpet here, but it is what it is. There's a bug somewhere. Yeah, there's something in there. But yeah, not too bad. I don't really worry about the back too much. I really have mostly gear back here. I don't really put people back here too much, but it is nice that at least the front two have that included. And there we go. Now at least the inside matches the outside. Everything is nice and clean. Still looks like a mirror. And yeah, I just like it clean. Honestly, I know I probably go a little bit above and beyond, but that's just how I like my vehicles. It makes me enjoy them a little bit more when I step in and everything is fresh. So that's just me. But this part I like to do because I don't want things to start rusting. And even though you're not gonna see any of this, it's still gonna make a difference, because once you get under there and you go to start doing any kind of work, it's a lot easier to work on stuff when it's not all rusted, and you're not gonna have any kind of rust dripping down and making a mess. So you can see we touched the hook. The hook, I don't think, yeah, we're gonna leave the hook because that is not something that I have. I don't have red paint, and I'm not really gonna worry about it. I'm gonna find out if these are aluminum or not. We are gonna be doing the bumper though, because you can see it's a little bit scratched up. We caught a couple of the bolts here. So I definitely want to do that. And the slider, you can see the slider's already starting to rust a little bit. Now I do have a solution for that. We're not just going to paint over the rust. I'm going to show you guys a quick and easy way to get rid of all of that and to paint over just the bare metal. So anywhere where you see that it's like actually just bare metal, that's fine to just paint over, just to get it covered and sealed so you don't have any rust forming. But where you see little specks like there and on here, I'll show you guys the best method and the quickest method. These are the supplies that I use, and this is basically for 2 reasons. This you can lay down on to get underneath the vehicle and you don't have to lay on the ground, but I'm also going to use this so I don't get any overspray, and I'll show you that. That's only going to be for the bumper and for anything that's closer up to the body. Underneath we don't need to worry about that, but I'll show you guys how I use this. And I'm sure it's not perfect, but it does help any overspray that would land on the paint. So we'll use that. Regular satin black paint, not sponsored, but yeah, Rust-Oleum, and it works all right. Does the job, fast dry, yeah. And this is my secret weapon. So what this is a sanding sponge. And this one is 120 grit. And it is like a nice soft sponge, just like you would use for your dishes, but the entire exterior is coated in that 120 grit. So I've already used this one, that's why it looks a little bit nasty, but trust me, this thing works like magic. I'll show you guys in a second, because once you start actually hitting any kind of rough surface, it conforms to the surface so well, and it just fills in all the cracks and all the gaps. It gets all that rust out, and you don't have to fight, you don't have to play around. Like literally you swipe this over 2-3 times and it's done. Like, yeah. So that's my secret weapon right there. So we're gonna get underneath, clean everything up, paint it over, and we're gonna call it a day for that. So I'll show you before we start painting something like this. I don't know if the rust shows up on camera, but you can see it's pretty much already gone. You just got to rub it a little bit, find a clean spot on your sanding sponge, and there you go. You can see all the rust is now gone. So I'm gonna go and see if I can find anything else. There's a little bit on that bolt. There we go. So we're just gonna go around, finish off anything we see. But you can see how quickly and easily that rust comes out. So I'm gonna finish this off, then I'll show you guys how I spray it off. And yeah, it's not really much work after that. finished painting everything back here, so the entire back bumper is all done. And when you stand back, it really doesn't look that bad. Like, it looks fine, to be honest with you, even when you stand up close, like right here. But that's pretty much the process. Now, I've already went around and sanded down all the rust, and I'll show you guys exactly where we hit last time we went off-road. But take a look at this guy. This thing has definitely done its job, even though sometimes when you go over an obstacle, this part of the obstacle is higher, or this part of the obstacle is higher. So I always try to angle it or this or that. But like the other day, we were doing a climb and the rock was a lot higher on this side. The only way to do it was to line right up. So that's why that side got all kind of scratchy and denty. But you can see this thing still does its job. So definitely, I would recommend getting one of these. They're not cheap, but even if you have a Wrangler, it's gonna save you your bumper just a little bit. And if I didn't have this, well, the hitch would look a lot worse than that. So we're gonna keep using that even when we have our lift. But I'll go around quickly, show you guys what we accomplished here. First thing I did was the diff, and you can see it takes it right down to the bare metal. So it is pretty much as good as you're gonna get it without taking all the paint off, priming it, and doing all of that. But if we look over here on the gas tank skid, you can see scrapes all along here, and they continue along at the front, both sides, and as well as on that cross member there. We do have some over here, which I'll show you from the other side. There's one right here that we cleaned up. So I'm just gonna come in here and just spray all of these spots and call that a day. In the front, we also did have this piece of the bumper that we cleaned up. So we're gonna have to come back in here, paint this. That's just dirt, but there is a little bit that we're gonna have to paint over here, so we're gonna deal with that. And now coming around to the driver's side, we've got a bit on the cross member here, a bit on the transfer case skid plate. See one right there, and there's a few more along there. So I'm basically just gonna spray them all, and that's it. So yeah, that's pretty much what's gonna happen every time you go off-road if you decide to go rock crawling. Now once we lift it, it's not gonna happen as often, but it's still gonna happen. Underneath, that's why it comes with skid plates. It's meant to be used. They're there for a reason. They don't put them on just for show. So they do their job, and just like these guys, the bed rails or whatever, the box skids, whatever you want to call them, those work amazing. And I can tell you, if you look at the gap on this one, and you come over here, you look at the gap on this one got pushed in, I'd say 1/4 inch. So it's not crazy, it's not the end of the world, but they do their job. They really do. So that's why I like to go around, just spray everything up, doesn't look like crap, and we can go and hit another trail after and not have to worry that everything underneath is rusting to shit. And right when the rain starts, we finished. Perfect. So now, even though we washed it, it is just gonna beat up and hopefully it doesn't get too dirty. But I have an idea for this guy, because these are steel. This guy is a solid CNC aluminum piece, so it's not gonna rust, even though it's got a little bit of chafing there and a scratch or two underneath. This is steel and it is gonna rust. So I've got a quick idea. What we're gonna do is, because we've already sanded it down, I'm gonna sand it down a little more to get it all out, because I can see a little bit of rust still in there, right there and right there. I'm gonna go get some nail polish, because why the hell not? Just so that it doesn't rust. I'm gonna seal it off. You won't even see it underneath there, but I'm just gonna go buy a thing of nail polish for like 5-10 bucks, whatever it costs. I don't know. I haven't painted my nails in years, boys, but no, I'm joking. Some guys actually do paint their nails, and I'm not judging, but I've never seen the appeal. Yeah, mine get black naturally from working on shit, so I think I'll leave it like that. But we're gonna go get some more nail polish, I guess, or some nail polish, and paint this up. I thought about doing that for the rims before, but one, they're just gonna keep getting destroyed, and two, they're aluminum, so they're not gonna rust, so I don't care. So let's go get a little bit to do that, just so that doesn't start rusting on us and start looking like a bag of shit. And I think we'll be good to go. Well, this is how you know I don't buy nail polish, because I said $5-10 bucks. I went in there, she charged me $32. Like, I don't know if the girl was trying to sell me some expensive stuff because she knew I didn't know better, but $32? Oh, I did not want to spend that, but here we are. The actual piece that we broke in the front from Mopar was $28. So yeah, but here it is. And I'd say that's as close as we're gonna get. Like, that's, damn, that's pretty spot on. So hopefully it dries good, but sorry about the background noise. Hopefully it dries good, but it does say it's a gel. I don't know if that makes a difference, but hopefully that fills it in better. If anybody's watching with their girlfriends, let me know if I bought the right stuff, but let's hit it. I didn't mean you, bud, I meant me. So let's hit it. Okay, now I'm tripping because it says step 1. What the hell does that mean? Where's the other step? Okay, whatever. We're gonna hit it with this and see what happens here. So wish me luck, guys, because I have no idea what I'm doing here. But oh no. Oh no. That's not the color. Oh no. Whatever. It's what we got right now. It's what we're gonna use. And yeah, but it's looking kind of purple over there. That's not great. What's going on here, guys? Thought we had the right stuff. It looked so good in the bottle. And now we're over here painting it purple. Maybe it just needs another coat. Maybe that's it. Because the stuff that is overlapping, it looks like it's matching pretty spot on. You can see there, because I sanded a little over, but you can see it's, yeah, like it's matching up. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna hit it with a second coat and let it dry and see what happens, but this isn't what I planned on. Okay, I think I figured out the secret. So you need to get a lot on there, and you need to get to the actual gel part of this stuff, or whatever the heck this is, because once you get enough on there, the pigment actually shows up. So you can see now it's actually matching. But before, it was just a little bit more purple than red. But you can see here, you can see it's like, it's thick. Yeah, actually it's looking like it's gonna do a great job. So let's just fill this in wherever we see any scratches. Like you can see there, it's actually doing a pretty decent job. Not gonna complain at all, actually. So if you guys want to know what this is, I'll tell you off the bottle in a second. So if you want to get any for yourself, then you can. But so far it seems like it's doing the job. Well, it's still wet, but I'm pretty happy with that result. Came out pretty close to the same color, and now we don't have to worry about anything rusting. So if you want to pick this stuff up, I didn't think I'd ever be giving recommendations on this. It's called Sally Hansen, and it is Red Between the Lines. So there you go. That is the same as the Rubicon red tow hook. So if you guys need some, there you go. And since we're still waiting for that part to come in from Mopar, I guess we'll go upstairs, let this thing dry off, and we'll come back here when we have the part and throw it on. But it should be pretty easy. I already have the plastic rivets. I'll tell you guys which size you need and show you guys the process, but it's actually super easy. If you've ever done rivets in metal, it's pretty much the same thing, actually probably even easier. So yeah, that's pretty much it for right now, because I don't have anything else to show you guys on the Jeep, because everything else is taken care of except for that little piece. So yeah, and we are back. We're actually back in the monkey cave here with the TJ, and we got the part. Now this one is specific to each side. So this is this side, and you can see this side, even though it looks like it would match up, the difference is that when you actually look at this on the inside, the bezel that goes around your light, one of the sides is flat, a little bit longer than the other, if that makes sense. So you can see this one is like this long. That one goes all the way, pretty much the whole bottom of the light, where this one's just a little bit. And that's pretty much how it matches up on this side. You can see the top is flatter, and that's what gives it that kind of look. If you were to flip it, it looks very similar, but it doesn't match up perfectly. I'm sure you could make it work or figure it out, but that is the part number for the passenger side. And like I said, this was an original Mopar part. You can see it's stamped with the Chrysler logo, made in Canada. There's actually a Chrysler plant like 10-15 minutes from where I live. So yeah, let's get this thing out, or let's get that one out and let's get this one in. But first thing we're gonna have to do is attack those plastic rivets that I mentioned before. So I'll show you two methods of removing them, and I have the plastic rivets right here. I have a whole kit. Like I said, I replaced an inner fender liner over there before, so I did that with these. And there's the tool. So you can remove them using that extraction tool right there by kind of popping them out, or you can drill them out, which I have a drill right there in my tool bag. We'll grab a drill and we'll do it that way. And then you have to kind of go around and snip them a bit. So I didn't have these snips with me last time. These aren't in the kit, these are just my own. And you can see when I did this one, I left a little nub. Like there's a little bit of a nub there still on each one. And now with these snips, I should be able to come in here and get it perfectly flush. And you can see now, you don't see it. So that's pretty much what we're gonna do on the front, and I'll go around and clean this one up, and then it'll match how the factory ones come. You can see the factory ones come pretty flush. So let's go, let's take those out, and we'll get some new ones in. And before we go ahead and rip those ones out, I thought I would explain to you guys real quick how these even work. So if you've never used a metal rivet, they look exactly like this, but they're made of metal. And how a rivet works is, once you put it in the rivet gun, you stick this end right here through whatever material you're trying to clamp. And then once you have it in there, it spreads. And not all rivets are split. These plastic rivets are all split, but metal rivets aren't always split. Sometimes they're solid, and when you go to clamp them, it just folds the metal to clamp those two pieces, whatever you're trying to join. Same idea with this. Once you actually clamp it all the way down, you can see there's that little bit of room right in there, like right there, for that panel or whatever you're trying to hold. So that's what's going to be holding on that cap, that little gap right there. And once you get it in, you squeeze it one more time, it pops off and goes to hell. I'm gonna go find it because I can see it over there, and I'll show you what it looks like. So this is what you're left with. And you can see there's that little nub right there at the end. So that's what's gonna be on the inside of your panel, and it's gonna be holding your panel, and this is what you're gonna see on the outside of your panel. And then you just clip that little nub, and you have a nice flat flush piece. And I wouldn't recommend removing these with the panel tool unless you're not reusing the panel underneath, because this will dig into this plastic and you're gonna have marks. If you're doing it on something like over here on the inside of your fender and you're removing those, I would definitely drill them out, because you're gonna get a lot cleaner of a look and you're not gonna damage the other panel. You're just gonna damage the rivet that you're trying to remove. But for now, we're gonna do this way. And I've never done this way before because, like I said, I've drilled those ones out and reused that panel. But let's see, we get it all the way in. Yep, they pop right out. So there's one side of the rivet, and the other side, which I believe is still in there, but it's not holding anymore. So we'll be able to pop it through. And I'll show you guys how to drill them out the other way, because they're actually really easy to drill out. So I've just got a 1/8 drill bit, nothing special. And you want to find the center, basically that nub right there, and drill that out. And you want to be careful. Don't go too far, don't go too fast, because there's a light back here. And depending on where you're working on the vehicle, you don't want to damage the things behind it. But that's it. That one is drilled out. So you can see. And I think right there it let loose, and I should be able to pry it out. Or even just pull this right off and it should just pop the head right off. Let's see. Drill it one more time with a slightly larger drill bit just to make sure. But yeah, that feels like it just let go. Yep, there we go. So the other drill bit just wasn't reaching, and you can see how big these ones are. So when these ones compress down, something like that. So these are pretty big, and we're just gonna have to match these ones up. And I have the right one because I've already replaced them before. But now this whole piece should come right off. There's 2 clips along the bottom and 2 clips along the top, but it seems like the top ones are giving me more trouble. Oh, there we go. That last clip is literally just ripping itself right off of the actual mount, off the bezel here. Just one last stubborn piece doesn't want to come out. There we go, done. And it appears that our frame horn, crash bar, whatever the heck this thing is, took a beating as well. Not a big deal. I'm gonna just give this guy a quick sand and spritz before we put it back together, because I can see a little bit of rust forming right there. Not really a big deal. And last time people were saying I should upgrade to a steel bumper. This guy, it's steel. Front and rear, they're both steel. The only thing that's plastic is that cap, and I believe that they put that there so that they can cover these, which are probably there for like safety reason. You can cover up the mount for the tow hook, which you can see over here. There, it mounts right there, so it actually comes down, splits. There's a bolt there, a bolt there, a bolt there, and a bolt there, and there you have your fog lights. So yeah, to be honest, I really don't mind that this was crushed and now we have to replace it. It was 28 bucks. I honestly thought it was gonna be a lot worse. So let's clean this all up and get it ready for putting it back on. I'm not sure how well the camera picks that up, but it looks like the paint or the powder coating cracked a bit and it just started to rust a tiny bit, but not to worry. Quick spritz just so it doesn't rust anymore, and you'll literally never see anything in here again. So all good. And I'm almost certain that if you replace your bumper, that this part is replaced as well. So it's not really a big issue. I do like these bumpers and I plan to keep them for a while, which is why I'm doing this. But if we ever have to, then it's not a big deal. And I'm actually surprised at how much of a beating this little piece took. I do understand that this is for crash support and this is meant to crush, but like it really crushed. You can see it's folded, man. And it really cracked, like all the paint cracked on it on the top here, on the side. So I get that these are meant for crash, but we weren't even moving like 5 kilometers an hour, like we were barely moving. But I guess that's what saved my bumper. Paint is drying. She looks like new. Nothing ever happened. Who's gonna know? And then we come over here and I've already matched up the rivets. I've got 2 of them on the ground there for myself. But for anybody that's wondering, it is this guy right here. So it's hard to read on this camera. It is a 1/4 inch hole size. The panel range is a 5/32 to a 13/32. Flange size is a 43/64. So the easiest way to do this is go ahead, buy yourself the whole kit on Amazon. They're like 30 bucks. You get the removal tool, you get the installation gun, and you get a whole crap load of rivets of all different sizes. And to be honest with you, that one's a 1/4 inch, that one's a 1/4 inch, that one's a 1/4 inch, and the 1/4 inch is also a 6.3, and this one's a 6.6. So you could use pretty much 90% or 80% of what's in here, and they even give you extra bags of stuff. If I can find the link to this one, I'll post it, but I bought this over a year ago, so I don't even know if this even still exists, but I can guarantee you they have the same kits, same looking kits, or same very similar kits on Amazon. So just pick yourself one up if you have to replace anything on here. But let's go, let's bang it out. Paint should be dry enough that we can throw our new piece on. And there you go. Now we're just gonna trim those two little heads, and it'll look like factory, and no one's ever gonna know. And look at that. Perfect. And I'd say, other than that little scratch that I put into it there, that one came out perfect on the bottom. Look at the other side, and you would never know. And yes, it is filthy again. There's bugs smeared all over the Jeep. We went out to the beach the other day, and well, you know how much of a bug catcher the Jeep is, but that looks mint. And it is a factory piece, so it should look mint, but yeah, super easy to do. Super happy with that. Now we're ready to hit another trail. And well guys, that's pretty much it. That's the aftermath of taking your Jeep off-road, or taking your stock Jeep off-road. I still call this thing stock. Yeah, it has 37s, but it's on stock suspension. It has a leveling kit in the front, nothing in the rear. The leveling kit in the front is a 1.5 inch puck spacer, which to me, if you have a leveling kit on your truck, it's not a build, it's not a lift, it's a leveling kit. It's enough to fit a bigger tire, which is basically what I did. In the back it doesn't rub, in the front it doesn't rub now, but stock, these things come with a rake like any other pickup truck, just because when you load the bed, it doesn't squat, so that when you load the bed, it sits even, or if you have any kind of load or whatever. So yeah, that's the aftermath of taking your stock Jeep off-road. Hopefully I won't have to go through this for too much longer, and I'll be able to go and get myself the lift finished. I do have the shocks. I still need to get a few other pieces. We'll be finishing it off soon as this thing leaves. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next one. And if you guys are new around here, jump down there, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, give this video a share. And until next time, guys, ride safe out there. Peace.